John Hamm wants to fly planes. Chris Cooper wants to be your neighbor. And more about Deadwood, the movie? Awesome. This and more on Movie Emporium's News of the Day. What's up, guys? Welcome to Movie Emporium's News of the Day for August 23rd, 2018, where we take stories from around the world of news and movies, break them down, and tell you about them one by one. As always, if you like what you see, remember to comment, rate, subscribe. Check us out on YouTube, Audio Boom, Facebook, and Twitter. Also, remember we have an email for enlapola1138@gmail.com. Promise I'll get changed at some point. Just a little note, I do apologize for the audio. I know it hisses a lot. It's something I'm trying to work on, but it's never going to be perfect until I get better equipment. So that's why I always say, try and help us get more views so we can, improve what we do. But for anybody who's watched any of our videos, as always, thank you so much. Thank you for putting up with the hissing sound. Like I said, I'm trying my best. But with that, I think we'll go ahead and get into our first story, which is, so Hans Zimmer, famous composer, has done a lot of Christopher Nolan movies, everything from Dunkirk to Dark Knight. He's also done The Lion King. He's done Blade Runner 2049. He's also done a lot of the DC movies, and recently he got announced to do Wonder Woman 1984. That's awesome. Hans Zimmer, famous for what he's done. He's known for the boom, boom, boom that you saw in Inception. So, the guy's been around forever. If you've ever seen stuff like Black Rain, you know his music very well. He's done a lot of tunes, worked with a lot of famous people. So it's really exciting that he's come back to the DC universe, because the one thing you can't complain about is his scores. Look at stuff like Man of Steel. Look at stuff like Dark Knight, like I said. Look at stuff like, anything that Christopher Nolan's done, anything that he's done in the past, like I said with The Lion King. It's exciting. I can't wait for it. I'm sure he's going to have an amazing score. Wonder Woman's score is already amazing as it is. That theme is awesome. It's very powerful and bump, 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 that type of thing. So, I'm looking forward to it. Hans Zimmer, can't go wrong with him. So I'm sure he's gonna shoot out an amazing score. But that's pretty much it. Not much to tell. Like I said, the movie comes out next year, so we won't hear anything soon, but you already know the Wonder Woman theme, so you already know what kind of music you're getting. And I think he actually created that Wonder Woman theme, so we're good. But with that, we'll go ahead and move on to our next story, which is, so Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Amazing cast, everyone from Brad Pitt to Leonardo DiCaprio, so on and so forth, Margot Robbie. This cast keeps growing and growing and growing. And two new actresses have been brought in. First is Lena Dunham, who you remember from Girls. Amazing actress, created one of the most amazing series in the last few years that was produced by Judd Apatow. Just a perfect fit for this movie. She's also joined by Maya Hawke, who you don't really know who she is, but you might know her parents, Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke. So there's not much to go on. They're playing roles inside the movie. The movie's basically, Brad Pitt is the stuntman of Leonardo DiCaprio, and then it's set, he's paranoid, but then it's set in the Sharon Tate murders, who Margot Robbie is playing. So I think the movie's going to be pretty awesome. I've already said that. It's going to probably be an Oscar contender. But, adding Lena Dunham, especially, she's, like I said, Girls is a funny TV series. It's very heartfelt. It's very dark, but Adam Driver came out of there, and it's just, she created an amazing TV series, and I think this is like one of her first movie roles. So to see her coming into her own and then coming into a Quentin Tarantino movie, how can you go wrong with that? So I'm really excited for Lena Dunham. I'm excited for Maya Hawke. Good luck to them. Quentin Tarantino, give me the movie now. That's all I can say. But that's pretty much it on that story. There's not, like I said, a whole lot, but, there you go. So with our next news story we had Won't You Be My Neighbor. It was a documentary that came out this year about Mr. Rogers, my favorite movie of the year. Yes, it's a documentary, but still considered a movie. Fantastic, look at what Mr. Rogers was able to accomplish, what he was able to do, how he was able to, just create a world that kids could envelop themselves in, and he could take subject matter and do all kinds of stuff with it. But so there's a movie coming out that's going to deal with a. Let me actually tell you about the story. Basically, Tom Hanks is going to play Mr. Rogers, and Matthew Reyes is going to play a journalist who is cynical about Mr. Rogers. He doesn't really believe his ideals. He thinks it's kind of a scam. And Tom Hanks, after playing Walt Disney, he's going to play another character who has a lot of ideals and a lot of passion for what he believed in and what he did. And it's also learned that Chris Cooper is going to play Matthew Reyes' father in the movie. So what that means, I don't know. But Chris Cooper being in a movie in general is pretty awesome because he's an amazing actor. If you've ever seen Adaptation or seen The Bourne Identity, or, there's other films that he's been in. He's been in a lot of films. American Beauty, another amazing performance. The guy is really popular, really awesome to watch. He's not as many movies as he should be. He should be more Oscar worthy. I mean, like I said, he won for Adaptation, but the fact that he gets roles like this, and if you ever seen The Muppets, for instance, it wasn't a great movie, but he was a great villain in it. He did like the maniacal laugh, that kind of thing. But it's cool to see that he's in a movie like this. Do we really need a Mr. Rogers movie? Probably not, but Tom Hanks is always good for a watch, especially when he played like Walt Disney or Forrest Gump or, Castaway and so on and so forth. Saving Private Ryan. So, I mean, you know what you're going to get with Tom Hanks, but Chris Cooper, it's awesome to see he's in another decent-sized movie, so good luck to him. But that's pretty much it on that story. Just wanted to shout out to Chris Cooper, who is an underrated actor, even though he still won an Oscar, which happens a lot, so I don't know. But with that, we'll go ahead and move on to our next story, which is... So, John Lithgow is a pretty famous actor, pretty well-known. He was in stuff like A World According to Garp. He was in Dexter, probably one of the most popular seasons of that series. He's a well-respected theater actor, well-respected actor in general. He's one of my favorites. Like I said, World According to Garp is one of my favorite performances of any actor. He was in that movie. He played a transgender character. He's also in Harry and the Hendersons, which I really enjoy. I mean, he's done a lot of stuff in his career. He's been around for a long time, really well known, stuff you've heard of, it's a pretty big career. So if you don't know who Roger Ailes is, he was a political career idealist who found ways to get himself up into Fox News. Really famous guy, really famous reporter, so on and so forth. And then he was brought down by sex scandals, as happens in this day and age where people do things and they don't think they're going to get away with it. Harvey Weinstein, that type of situation. So Jay Roach, who you might remember from directing stuff like Austin Powers, he did like Recount. He's done a lot of political stuff, but also a lot of comedies. He's going to be directing this film. It's also going to be by the writer who wrote The Big Short. It's also going to star Nicole Kidman. Roger Ailes was a terrible human being, and it shows. And Jay Roach, who has been known for doing political ideal movies and so on and so forth. Sorry if that doesn't make any sense, but this movie sounds interesting in the fact that John Lithgow can take any role and make it fascinating. And taking a role like this, and he's probably very against the Fox ideal. Fox News is not well respected. Yes, I know this is a movie show or movie talk show or whatever you want to call it, but Fox News, in a lot of eyes, is more of an entertainment program than it is an actual news source. And Roger Ailes is one of the reasons for that. So John Lithgow playing the character is kind of like Gary Oldman playing Winston Churchill. And, it should be interesting to see how this plays out. Like I said, The Big Short was one of my favorite movies that year. It really played into like the stock market crash. Like I said, if you haven't seen Recount, which is about the Florida election, the presidential election back in, I think, 2004, when they had the Chad issue, it's a really interesting movie. And like I said, if you've seen Austin Powers, you know what you're getting. Mystery Alaska, stuff like that. Excuse me, stuff like that. But I'm really interested to see what they're going to do with this movie. I'm interested to see how it's going to play out. I don't know much about it because there's not too much. If you already know what Roger Ailes did, then you already know how this is going to play out. But it's going to deal with like his sex scandals. It's going to deal with his rise up the chain in Fox News. So we'll see how it plays out. But I'm really interested to see it. Like I said, I like Jay Roach. I definitely like John Lithgow. I like Nicole Kidman, Charlize Theron, Russell Crowe. I mean, how you can't go wrong. Apparently, a lot of Australians are going to be in this movie. So, but with that, that's it on that story. So with that, we'll go ahead and move on. And our next news story is, so we got a new Top Gun movie coming out. Tom Cruise is starring in it, and it's being directed by Joseph Kosinski, who did Tron Legacy. He did Oblivion. So it's this big movie. It's a sequel to Top Gun. Top Gun's a famous 80s movie about, Tom Cruise is playing Maverick, and Anthony Edwards is in it, Tom Skerritt's in it, Michael Ironside, so on and so forth. Kelly McGillis is in it. And now they're making a sequel. Do they really need a sequel? No, but it's called Maverick, and Tom Cruise is going to be a instructor for Top Gun. But there's been some cool casting news. Also, who's already in it is you got people like Val Kilmer's coming back. Of course, I completely forgot about him. Glenn Powell, Jennifer Connelly, Miles Teller, who's going to play the hot shot in the movie. But now we got word that John Hamm and Ed Harris are going to be in the movie, as I believe flight instructors like Tom Skerritt. But putting John Hamm and Ed Harris in a movie like this, that's all you need. Ed Harris especially. I mean, Truman Show is one of my favorite movies of all time. Ed Harris is amazing in it. Ed Harris was amazing in Pollock, amazing in Apollo 13, so on and so forth. John Hamm's amazing in Bridesmaids, amazing in Mad Men. Now we got them in Top Gun, and I think this movie is going to be cool. Is it going to be great because Joseph Kosinski is not the greatest of directors, but he's still a talented director. So I'm not saying it's going to be a terrible movie, but now we're seeing the cast, and then on top of that we have Lewis Pullman, who's Bill Pullman's son, in it. I mean, you're starting to see the pieces fall in place. This movie's gonna be big. There's no doubt about it. Unless it's terrible, then it won't be big. But Top Gun with Tom Cruise, Val Kilmer, John Hamm, Ed Harris, Jennifer Connelly. I mean, Miles Teller, who's an amazing actor if he's not playing, Mr. Reed from Fantastic Four. But you know what? I'll see it. I mean, there's not much else to say about it. I mean, these are amazing actors in a movie about Top Gun, about flight school. I mean, you can't go wrong with the original movie, even though it's still cheesy and you have all the Kenny Loggins songs. So, whatever. But I'm looking forward to this. Whatever. So, but we'll move on to our next story, which is. So I told you yesterday about. Actually, it's probably last couple of days about scary stories to tell in the dark, and this literally posted like right after I posted the video. But the movie is apparently going to start recording this week, and they've learned some stuff. And I'm going off what Collider has written. It's posted all over the place, but Collider I like because they're credible sources. Okay, so this girl named Zoe Colletti, who was just recently in Paul Dano's new film that he directed called Wildlife, has been cast as the lead of this movie, which is being directed by Andre Alvadal. And I didn't realize this, but Guillermo del Toro helped write the script on top of Patrick Melton and Marcus Dunstan. So, that's exciting. Guillermo del Toro is an amazing writer, so the fact he's adding credence to this movie is awesome. And I found out that the Scarecrow and the lady with the spider in her chin or cheek, which I love that story. That's a haunting, scary story, which is the idea of these stories. And there's other stories, but they also, apparently the story itself, what the movie's going to be about, is going to be leaked. And I wanted to share it to you. And it was also, like I said, it's in Collider, so just want to give them credit where credit's due. So the story is. According to sources, Colletti will play Stella Michaels, a young girl still haunted by her mother's disappearance on Halloween night, an incident that she suspects her father knows more about than he lets on. Years later, Stella and her friends are involved in a Halloween prank gone wrong. That sounds familiar. Or is it the work of a vengeful spirit, a female ghost who uses their scary stories to come after the teens when they begin to investigate the disappearance of several children? Those who have read the script say that the film will feature the human scarecrow and the girl who has spiders crawl out of her face in the red spot. So I find this interesting. It's kind of like Goosebumps or Tales from the Crypt, where it's a kid's story, but it deals with like heavy subject matter, and it's horrifying, and it's what I want, and I don't care what anybody says, but I'm looking forward to it. You know, like I said, the fact that Guillermo del Toro helped write it, and I guess there's the Lego movie writers also helped craft it. It could be fun. Like I said, it doesn't come out till next year, so we're gonna see it as it goes along, how it plays out, how it looks. Like I said, these books scared me when I was a kid more than Goosebumps did, which Goosebumps, the movie, if you haven't seen it, is a pretty underrated movie. But I really enjoy it. I'm looking forward to this. I don't care, like I said, what anybody says, but there you go. There's a leaked synopsis of the movie. There's the cast, there's the director, writers, so on and so forth. So we'll see. Like I said, you know, it can't be, it could be terrible, it could be awesome. I'm hoping for awesome. So we'll wait and see. But with our last news story, we have, okay guys, I know this isn't a movie related sense of it being a movie, but it's a TV show based off a movie. If you've ever seen Deadwood, which is David Milch's series about a sheriff who goes to Deadwood to try and take control of the town, but then you have Ian McShane's character who is like the rough, profanity-laden bartender who kind of runs the county, and then you have W. Earl Brown, you have John Hawkes, you have Bradley Dorff. Many actors came out of here. Timothy Olyphant is amazing in this, just like in Justified. So there's been talk for the longest time because the movie or the TV series kind of ended abruptly, and we wanted some kind of closure out of it. And this is one of the best TV series of all time. I don't know if people will agree with me, but most people love this TV series. And it's moving along. It wasn't for the longest time, but it's now moving along. They now have a script. They now have an idea of where they want to go with it. Who knows what that is, but it's going to be on HBO. It's going to be an HBO movie. But since it's a movie, I figured I'd talk about it, and I love Deadwood. I think it's awesome. If you haven't seen it, it'll blow your mind how good it is, because it's early HBO, probably 2004 maybe, somewhere around there. So this isn't, like I said, it isn't a news story, but it's kind of cool. W. Earl Brown, who's one of the characters in the show, posted on Twitter about having read the script, and I just wanted to kind of show you the Twitter feed account thing. But it comes from Joe Blow, and it reads, "I just read the final draft. Holy shit. In the course of those 2 hours, my emotions ricocheted in every fucking direction. Exhilaration to melancholy. Hoots of joy to scream of despair. The maestro has topped himself." And he goes on to say, "As my eyes scanned the page, I read the Dan Doherty dialogue aloud. Milch's words are like scrumptious meals. The complexity of its flavors is something to savor. The structure is essentially the same as the first vision I read a year and a half ago, but the complexities of the relationship, the emotional peaks and depths, are all sharpened to a razor-fine edge. It's gut-wrenching." Guys, if that's half true, we're in for a treat. Deadwood, I'm not even joking. Deadwood is fucking awesome. Excuse my language, but he said it first. I'm repeating it. It's a fucking awesome show. It deserves to be seen if you haven't seen it. It's up there with like Lost, Justified, The Shield, TV series that have love but don't get a lot of love because they're forgotten, because they haven't been seen for a while. Now we're getting the movie, which is probably going to do well for HBO because people do love Deadwood, and I can't wait for it. Like I said, it's a TV movie, but it is still a movie all the same. It's still being done by David Milch. It still has the cast coming back, so you're going to see Timothy Olyphant. You're going to see Ian McShane. So you know what? Bring it on. I'm looking forward to it. One of my favorite stories this year is the fact that Deadwood's finally getting a movie. But that's it on the stories. I hope you enjoyed what I've talked about. Like I said, there's never, during this time of year, there's never a huge amount of stories, but they're always fun stories when they do release. So, you know, there you go. But with that, we'll go ahead and let you guys go. As always, remember to rate, subscribe, comment, check out us on YouTube, Audioboom, Facebook, Twitter, email nlapola113@gmail.com. Like I said, you know, we do want you guys to watch. I do want you guys to comment, tell us how we're doing. Like I said, with the audio, I am doing the best I can with it, so bear with me. But like I said, I really do appreciate you guys watching. And as always, we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks a lot, guys. Peace.